Hello everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. I am back here for another top 5 video. This time it'll be my top 5 inks that I've purchased in 2024. And inks are harder for me because I use way more inks than I do pens, because I go through so many samples, I receive so many, I try so many. So going through bottles is really difficult for me, and I bought a lot this year, but I'm gonna try and narrow it down to a top 5. I do have 3 honorable mentions, but let's just do it. Let's just do it. What I will be swatching with today, why are they always way too far away from me? I'll be swatching with my Kakimori brass nib on my River City Penco nib holder, as well as my Speedball B nib. I love this thing, and how like you can do circles or whatever swatches that you want to do. Let me just move this over here. Let's get all set up. Now, I do want to say that this is not in any particular order. Although I did say that about my pens, and then they did end up in some kind of order. But no, this one is not in any particular type of order. It's really hard for me to choose favorite inks. I can definitely choose what I like and what I don't like, but then picking favorites is a little bit more difficult. Anyway, all right, let's just start. Okay, the first ink that I'm going to mention that I really loved this year, but also I have loved for a while, and I was only able to buy it this year, is Laban Aphrodite. This is one of those dusty pink inks that you know I love, and it's one of those where it's not even as dusty pink, it's a little bit more coral. Like, it's beautiful. Thing is, I have not used this as much as I thought I would this year, because I've also been working through my samples. So that's kind of why it's been so hard for me to choose my top 5 inks, because I haven't had a chance to use my bottled inks as much. And I'm trying to work on that. I have a goal for 2025 for working through my bottled inks, but I love the way that this shades. It's got great flow, and it's a beautiful color. So the ink is Laban Aphrodite. Oops. And I'm gonna do a couple of the, well, I was going to do a couple of alignments, and then I realized that's not the format that I want to do it in. So we'll do some figure 8s down here, and then the line widths over here. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely ink to write with. And I'm so glad that I finally got it this year. So that is Laban Aphrodite. The next ink is an ink that I acquired this year. It is Ferris Wheel Press Queen and Castle, and I have had some lovely people in the community gift this to me, and that just means so much to me, that you saw how much I loved this ink. I love the base of this, but I also love the shimmer that you see in this. Beautiful, beautiful ink, and it dries really lovely. But also I've used it in my Setimo Radius pen, and it's so lovely in that pen. No clogging issues or anything. But the size of the bottle kind of makes me worried. So this is Ferris Wheel Press Queen and Castle. Again, lovely. I love the base of it because, yeah, it does remind me of Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho, but then you've got that pinky rose gold shimmer, and then it just makes it feel like a completely different ink. Lovely, Lovely, lovely. Oops, I forgot to do the little flower. So that is Ferris Wheel Press, Queen and Castle. The next ink is one that I tried last year, but could only get a bottle of it within the last month. It is Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss, and I have loved this ink and have been wanting to buy this ink for quite some time, but it was either sold out, or if I wanted to buy it directly from Ferris Wheel Press, shipping was gonna be like $25 Canadian, so no. And then I found it at my local fountain pen store, Stylus, and I'm so happy that I found it, because this is just a gorgeous green, and it shades beautifully, but also is a lovely flow in a pen. Not too dry, and really great with extra fine nibs as well. Isn't that a gorgeous color? Very great for fall, but I feel like I would use it at any time of year. So that is, I mean, I love the bottles as well, but I'm always scared that I'm gonna knock them over. So this is Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss. Such a beautiful green, and it's so rich. Love that. And then the line widths. Oops, that is in the way. Lovely. Beautiful. So that is Ferris Wheel Press Peter Moss. The next ink, I do have to say, is another Ferris Wheel Press ink. This was an ink that I never thought I would buy, but then I saw it at my local stationery store, and I was like, oh, I have to get it, because one, it's right in front of me, and two, I don't have to pay shipping. So I have Ferris Wheel Press Auroralis, and I mean, just look at the box. How beautiful. Now, I am not a brand ambassador or anything for Ferris Wheel Press, and I don't have any plans to be. I am, when it comes to inks, I would rather basically get samples of what I would like to try, and then maybe buy. I think I would just get overwhelmed getting like 2 or 3 bottles every month. So I will only buy what I say need, but want to use. Like, how beautiful is that purple? And then it's got this gorgeous shimmer. Like, this was one of my favorites to use, and because I've had so many inks this last year to try, I haven't used this as much as I would like to. So oh, I'm glad that I'm doing this list, because it's allowing me to go back and say, you know what, there's a ton of bottled inks that you have that you haven't used yet. So you, well, not used yet, but use more of. It's very, but surprisingly, Ferris Wheel Press shimmer inks work really well in my pens. Ferris Wheel Press Auroralis. I haven't had too many issues with them, if any, with clogging. And they're beautiful. I almost find that sometimes their shimmer inks are better than some of just their standard inks. So, oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, so that is Ferris Wheel Press Auroralis. Okay, so now I'm going to mention a few honorable mentions. The first one is not part of the overall list because it's a sample, and I don't know if I am going to buy a bottle of this. It is Teranishi Nostalgic Honey. Somebody sent this to me, and I absolutely love it. It wasn't an ink that I had planned on loving, but it's beautiful. It's lovely in a pen. It's a great fall ink. But I used this in my Heinz Penco Champagne at Midnight, and it was such a fun ink to use. And that pen had an extra fine nib, and this ink flowed so well out of that. So this is Teranishi. Nostalgic. Honey, look at how beautiful that's going to shade. Lovely. So that is honorable mention number 1. Honorable mention number 2 is an ink that I didn't actually purchase but was gifted to me by my friend S, and it is Diamine Masquerade. This is from the 2023 ink vent calendar, and what I love about this ink, one of the things I love about this ink is that when this ink came out, the amount of people who tagged me to say this ink is a Karina ink, that means so much to me, that you all pay attention to what I like and what I don't like, and that you reach out to me and say this ink would be a you ink. And it definitely is. I haven't had as much chance to use it this year, but I hope to use it more in 2025. So this is very wet. So that is a D, Diamine ink vent 2023 Masquerade. Oh, so lovely. That's gonna dry beautifully. The last honorable mention is an ink that I had a sample of and loved it and hoarded it, and then finally when it was in stock I bought a bottle. It is Tatcha, or is it Tatcha? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Ume Murasaki. Who thought that I would like purple as much as I do? So this is like a plum purple. So Ume is for the plum. So this is like a purpley, dusty, pinky purple brown. And even when I'm putting a swatch down like that, there's even like hints of yellow or green in it. It's such a fun color. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's in my honorable mentions because I could only pick a top 5 and not a 10. But this is a very wet ink and so lovely. So Tatcha Ume Murasaki. All right, so those were my honorable mentions. And I just want to say, in terms of inks, I'm normally, when it comes to buying bottles, I'm normally very, very intentional. I mean, just like with my pens, I'm very intentional about what I buy. And I felt like this year I tried so many inks due to the generosity of so many people, but I also felt like I was a bit more spontaneous in what I bought for inks. So this top 5 was really, really hard for me to choose. But in the end, I mean, I'm gonna have fun with these inks, and I'm really excited to properly use them in 2025. But the last ink in my top 5, I'm surprised there's not more browns in here, but I'm like, no, I just gotta limit it to 1 brown. It is Diamine Raw Sienna. It was hard to choose because there was Ferris Wheel Press, Writing Desk, Oyster Hour. There was the Robert Oster Van Pen 86. There were a few browns that I tried this year, but this one I really love because I said when I want to have a brown ink in my collection, I want to know that it's a brown ink. I don't want it to look like it's, you know, almost black. And the way this dries, it is stunning. It's like a creamy, warm brown. It's like a comfy brown. I'm really bad with adjectives for describing color, so apologize for that. But I love it because there's one thing I also discovered this year is like there's so many browns, so many different types of brown ink, and like who knew I would enjoy them that much. So Diamine Raw Sienna, and this was one ink that I purchased without ever trying the sample. And I'm really glad that I purchased it because I love this shade of brown and the variety of browns that they're out there. I have tried a few, and it was hard to choose a brown, but this one is my favorite, both in the flow, but also look at how rich that looks. And even in an extra fine nib, it looks brown. It doesn't look black. And that's why I really love Diamine Raw Sienna. So there are my top 5 plus 3 honorable mentions. Inks for 2024. And when I say inks for 2024, these are inks that I have purchased or have been given in 2024. I haven't figured out what my top inks of all time are because that is very difficult. Please don't ask me to do that. But these are my top inks for 2024. All right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Were any of these a surprise to you? Were these expected? What did you think of my list? Let me know down in the comments below. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. Thanks again and have yourselves a great day.